Welcome to the Rocky Mountain MS Center's webinar series, Maximizing Lifelong Brain Health in MS. Today's topic is the growth of comprehensive care and the King Adult Day Enrichment Program. This presentation features Michelle King, Senior Director of the King Adult Day Enrichment Program, and Pete Broderick, Rocky Mountain MS Center Marketing and Communications Manager. We would like to thank the pharmaceutical companies who have provided patient education grants to support this series. Thank you to Genentech, AbbVie, Biogen, and Sanofi Genzyme. This webinar is scheduled for 1 hour. The first 45 minutes will be the presentation. If you missed something on a slide, we will be archiving this webinar along with the slides on our website at www.mscenter.org, so you can replay it at any time. We'll reserve approximately 15 minutes at the end to answer questions from the audience. You can submit questions at any time by typing them into the chat window on your screen. We will answer as many questions as time allows. And now, I'll hand the phone over to Pete Broderick.
Thanks, Kelsey. Just to let everybody know how we're going to start today, we've got a few minutes of background on the MS Center's comprehensive care program. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the history of MS and how we approached our comprehensive care services that we now offer. And then I will turn the presentation over to Michelle King, who will talk specifically about the KDB program, the King Adult Day Enrichment Program, which is really the flagship, I would say, of our comprehensive care outside the actual MS clinic at University of Colorado. So to begin, some brief history. MS was first identified in the 19th century. There has been, in historical records, we've seen that there were some things people had talked about long before that we now think probably were MS or very close to MS. But the disease itself was first identified in the mid-1800s. Physicians at that time didn't really understand how MS worked or what exactly it was. They were just recognizing common symptoms among people that were affected with this disease. And when you don't understand how a disease works, it makes it really difficult to treat it. So for a long time, there wasn't a whole lot of MS treatment available. Physicians at the time were concentrated on focused on dealing with symptoms rather than with the disease itself. So we fast forward a little bit to the 1940s and 50s, and all across the medical spectrum, there were lots of advancements being made. And part of the reason for that is during World War II, doctors were able to gather lots and lots of data because we had lots and lots of people that were interacting through the military with regular visits to physicians and things like that. So what happened with that was multidisciplinary approaches from all over the place in all different fields of medicine really had massive advancements. So in the 50s, we had things like DNA identified for the first time, and that's when we really began to understand how our body's genetic instructions have worked and how those are related to the immune system. And our understanding of DNA and the immune system really fueled huge advancements all throughout medicine, including the study of MS. The next really big advancement that had a direct effect on MS care and treatment were the advancements in imaging technologies. The first one to come around in the 70s was the CAT scan. X-rays had been around for a long time, but CAT scans were an advancement related to X-rays, where a series of X-rays of the brain could be shown or could be looked at together to get a bigger picture of what was happening inside the brain. Shortly after that, magnetic resonance imaging, or MRIs, came about. These were a little bit more sophisticated than X-rays in that they used magnets and radio waves to get a fuller picture of what was going on in the brain. And they were also a little bit safer. Magnets and radio imaging not having the radioactive properties of X-rays. They were something that that neurologists were able to use more frequently. So what we got out of MRIs was, first of all, a clearer picture of what was going on in people's brains, and also a diagnostic tool that we could use repeatedly on the same patient. So not only were we able to look at what was happening in someone's brain, we could also look at it again a year later or 2 years later and compare those two to see progression. So we had a tool for diagnosis that gave us a very clear picture of what MS was happening in the brain, or if there was MS happening in a patient's brain, and then a really reliable way to track that over the years and over time to see what sort of progression was being made in that patient. So when we talk about comprehensive treatment, in the 1980s, we had these diagnostic tools and monitoring tools, but we still didn't have any drug options and nothing that really treated MS itself. So treatment was focused on the immediate care of an MS exacerbation or attack and the symptoms that someone was living with on a daily basis. Those were usually treated with high-dose steroids, or exacerbations were usually treated with high-dose steroids and hospital stays if they were appropriate for that. So where the MS Center landed at that point in the 80s was to develop a comprehensive model of care that would allow people not just to interact with a neurologist when they were having an exacerbation, but also a team of multidisciplinary medical professionals. And at that point, we brought in physical therapists, occupational therapists, neuropsychologists, speech pathologists, lots of different people all at the MS Center able to interact with these patients during their immediate exacerbation or attack and in the immediate days following that attack. And what's happened today is now we're 30 plus years down the road. Where we are is the MS Center still uses that general model. We have our neurologists, we have our advanced practitioners, but we also have the ability to refer people out to various different resources, whether it's in the medical community or outside of that community. The next big advancement came in the early 90s, and that was the first MS drugs. Now that once we knew that MS was an autoimmune disease, and once we could identify and monitor MS accurately and reliably with MRIs, pharmaceutical companies got to work on different medicines that were able to have a direct impact on MS. So in 1993, the first of these MS-specific drugs reached the market, and that's really the first time that we had an opportunity to treat MS directly rather than treating MS symptoms. And from then on, we've had steady progress since 1993 with various different drugs entering the market, more effective drugs as we've gone on. And as we've grown our understanding of the disease itself, we've also made adjustments to what pharmaceutical treatments are most appropriate for patients. And we really now have a group of drugs that we refer to as disease-modifying therapies that can be looked at to see which one is going to be most effective for each patient or most appropriate for each patient in each situation. So all these developments really led to the MS Center's approach to comprehensive care. And we put those in our three categories of care, support, education, and research. Care is obviously the clinic that we refer to out at the Rocky Mountain MS Center at the University of Colorado. That's where our neurologists, advanced practitioners, and medical staff work. In our support category, we have our hydrotherapy program, which is a rehabilitation and exercise program in pools throughout the Denver area. We have counseling and referrals for mental health services. We have legal services to help people with Social Security issues and other legal issues that they're dealing with. Our education program features our MS 101 programs, our Conversations on MS series, our webinars, one of which you're listening to right now, our education summits, which we hold twice a year, and our publications. And the research category, we've got a neurology research team at the University of Colorado. We have our MS Tissue Bank, which provides research material to neurologists and researchers across the world, and our MS Biorepository, which is housed at the Anschutz campus as well. But really, as I mentioned before, the flagship of our comprehensive care is our KDB program. And for the next part of this presentation, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle King, who is the Senior Director of the KDB program.
Thank you, Pete. KDB started in 1991 in January of that year with just 6 clients per day on an average attendance in one room. And at that time, we were really getting our legs underneath us, figuring out what types of activities and skill set we needed to have for the participants to enjoy the day program. In 1998, we moved to our second location, which was in the basement of the Mary Crest campus, and then had to expand our space up to 13,500 to accommodate up to about 45 clients a day. In 2010, the center purchased our location in Westminster, giving us a grand total of 30,000 square feet, which allowed us to really expand, and now we're averaging 65 clients per day to come. KDB, or the King Adult Day Enrichment Program, is a place for younger adults living with MS, brain injuries, other neurological conditions, to come and experience life together in a location where they are understood by peers and by staff who are trained. So why KDB? People who live with MS and other acquired neurological conditions have difficulty functioning independently and engaging in community life, either because cognition has an effect or their physical mobility is limiting, or they have family members, limited income to get out and about. There are limited opportunities for social interaction. A lack of personal growth can lead to that sense of isolation and depression and a loss of purpose for their life. They also experience physical and emotional demands that they then place onto caregivers who experience the same thing, and they create profound struggles for families who cannot provide care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for someone who is young, living with MS or other acquired neurological conditions. What is KDB? KDB is an award-winning, innovative, community-based, cost-effective day program alternative to nursing home care for younger adults with MS, brain injury, and other neurological conditions. KDB provides a dynamic array of over 65 activities in a week that greatly expand the horizons, in addition to nursing care and other physical enhancements, emotional, cognitive, social well-being. We provide a vital respite for caregivers so that they may continue to work outside the home, or they may do something that needs to be done while their loved one is in a safe environment. They're being fed 2 meals a day, receiving medications, and being monitored. KDB strives to maintain that independent functioning, sense of wellness, and life enjoyment for every client who attends the program, thereby striving to eliminate that stress that caregivers and family members place on each other by being squished together with limited finances.
So Michelle, KDB is really, in a lot of ways, for many of our clients, it's an extension of their medical care. We have referrals that come from the clinic. We have referrals from various different places. Can you, with healthcare costs being such an issue, a common issue today, can you talk about how folks pay for KDB?
85% of the clients that attend KDB are on Medicaid long-term care services in the community, which provides the transportation to and from the program as well as the daily rate that we charge. Those clients would not be able to afford support in their home at the level that they're receiving, either through the program or aid services that are also attached to those waiver programs, because that expense is so large over such a large period of time. The other 15% are either VA funded for veterans who come in with one of our diagnoses, or private pay. Our private pay clients can ask for a fee reduction based on their income, which allows it to be affordable and still gives those families that respite opportunity.
Thanks.
So, facts about KDB. We are the only certified program in the Denver area designed specifically for younger adults with acquired neurological challenges. We're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. We average 65 clients a day. Our clients can stay in their homes longer because they can live with family independently, or in some rare cases they can live in a group home setting and still come to the program, reducing the overall burden for nursing home level care. We welcome adults between the ages of 18 and 65 who have been diagnosed with MS, brain injury, cerebral vascular accident, or CVA, stroke, and other acquired neurological conditions, including some rare diagnoses, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, early onset, and Huntington's. Our staff is very diverse, and we are very lucky. We have 17 staff at the KDB program. There are certified therapeutic recreation specialists, an exercise specialist, nursing staff, including an RN and LPN, 3 CNAs. We get interns in therapeutic recreation from across the United States. We're well known for our program and our model, and students come from as far away as the East and West Coast to join us for their internship. And we also get numerous volunteers who help run groups and programming. Therapeutic recreation staff are trained in treating the person from a strengths-based area. It's not on the slide. I wanted to point it out because unlike going to a PT where you go and you say, I'm having trouble lifting my left foot, it's dropping, TRs are going to say, what can you do, what do you want to do, and how can we get there? And so our staff, that CTR staff, really work hard in those areas. Their responsibilities are programming director, RTD and community outing coordination. We strive to be out in the community as much as possible. Volunteer coordination, so that we get those volunteers in who can help us run the program. Family celebrations coordination, internship coordinator. Every CTRS is also a care coordinator, as well as our RN, our LPN, and 2 of our CNAs. We also provide numerous community education opportunities, presenting at conferences to talk about day programs. We have expertise in hydrotherapy, outdoor and adventure programs, horticulture, special events, sports, arts, crafts, ceramics, computers, stress reduction, meditation, holistic approach. We are always trying to figure out the newest thing that we can bring into the program for the clients, and the clients actually give us feedback on what they want, and then our staff are tasked with getting that expertise so that we can fill that niche. Because I'm sure we all want to learn something new. Mine is not knitting. But there's this cool stamping project that we just started that I think would be amazing.
Can I ask one more question about care coordination? You mentioned that, but can you explain a little bit about what that is? I know you have each staff member has a number of clients that they specifically work with throughout their time here?
Yes. So each person that is a care coordinator is responsible for anywhere from 10 to 15 clients that client knows, hey, I have a question. I can go directly to that person and ask that person for help. It might be filling out paperwork. It might be filling out a housing application. It might be as simple as, I got this survey in the mail for something unrelated to KDB. Can you help me fill it out because my handwriting isn't so good? To more complex of writing goals for them to achieve in the program, holding family care conferences, and really just adds that little bit of extra support that the client might need for their sense of well-being and attachment. Now, they can go to any staff at any time, but they know that that staff person has more knowledge about their case than maybe some of the rest of us because they're in their chart all the time. Nursing staff. As I said, we have an RN, an LPN, and 3 CNAs, and they are responsible for medication and medical care coordination, personal care coordination, assisting in the restrooms, meal management, dietary education. They also provide programs. They also will call doctors when we see something that doesn't match up with the day-to-day of someone that's normally here. Someone's off a little bit, they're not making sense, their speech is suddenly slurred. We're going to start making those calls to make sure that that person's physicians realize that there's been a change. They have expertise in kitchen and meal management, dietary issues and concerns. They're great advocates, and they understand Medicaid and Medicaid billing processes. So what happens daily at KDB? We have leisure education and exploration, arts and crafts, computers and computer education, horticulture, stress management, sports, fitness, wellness programming, cognitive exercises, socialization, which I think is a huge aspect for our clients, is they're getting to socialize with others, not just care providers, outdoor recreation, and assessments. We assess leisure interests, we assess functional status, we are assessing quality of life. We really want to be able to look at someone and see where they're struggling and put that support underneath. We also have programs that we work with in the community: hydrotherapy, bowling, rafting, skiing, tennis, bicycling, camping, golf. All of those things happen in the community. We held holiday events where family members can come. We have special entertainment days where we might have a DJ or a band, or dancing pigs come, or the fencing group came and did a demonstration. So we really try and incorporate all aspects of our community into the programming for the individuals. KDB also provides personal care. We provide 2 meals a day plus snacks and hydration. Hydration really is important for all of us. Sometimes you forget to drink your water, and you might need that gentle reminder to have water, to something that is actually physician scripted that they need additional hydration. We do medication monitoring and administration, and we make sure that our staff go through extra training so that it's not relying on 1 or 2 people to pass those meds, but that there's multiple people available should the need arise. We assist with diabetes management, immunotherapy injections if needed, that coordination of the medical care that happens, the sending back and forth of scripts to doctors to get therapies approved, or to talk about a change in blood pressure that seems off, or that someone's equipment isn't working the way that it should. Equipment assistance, including wheelchairs, walkers, canes, and allowing clients to really explore what they need at that moment. We advocate for clients and caregivers. That includes talking to Medicaid personnel and saying to them sometimes, hey, you're not getting the full picture of this individual needs this, or advocating to the accessorized system on behalf of a client, saying they really need this pass. Just because they were walking today doesn't mean they can walk every day. Meal assistance, including food prep and assistance eating if they need it, assistance in the restroom, so that they can feel good about how they're looking at that moment, and then assessment of general needs and referrals out to where they can get those needs met. KDB programming. We use a lot of protocols that are MS specific for our clients with MS, such as cooling treatments, the use of cooling vests, scarves, awareness of what the heat is doing for our clients. Cognitive retraining, when someone goes to a physician and they get an order for something, or they have speech therapy exercises for cognition, and they bring them into us and we help them work through those, supporting that holistic approach to the person. Standing frame, swallowing, hydrotherapy, mindfulness and meditation, and then one-on-one treatment intervention. So if someone is really struggling, they might get some one-on-one time so that they can really try and grow and maintain their abilities and figure out where they need that extra boost, and then asking for community support to assist. The programming process, my favorite. Programs are run in 16-week blocks, and it is very much like a college. So all of our participants are adults, and they want to be treated as such. So they come in, they get a course description for the courses that are happening in that block, whether it be fall, winter, spring, which is what we're in right now, or summer. They get a little break. We call them specials weeks. We are open, we're active during that time frame, but they aren't in that scheduled routine. They get a little bit more freedom of moving around, choosing what they want to do day to day. They register for those classes based on that description and what their interests are. I think this is an important point to make. A lot of other day programs don't have the staffing to allow the number of activities and the diversity that our program does in a day, you might get 1 or 2 activities versus 13 to 14 in a day. So here you're getting a breadth of choice that the clients are also giving us that feedback back. Programmers provide designated classes based on their interests, their expertise, but also developing and following program ideas that come from clients. You know, currently we're running a handwriting group because a client said, I want to work on my handwriting. It's horrible. I want to be able to at least print my name. So we had a staff member who learned this and then went and educated themselves on how you step-by-step go through printing and handwriting. And then they're responsible for doing a lesson plan, very much like in school. What are we going to do this day? What's it going to look like? What supplies are needed? So that the clients can participate and they're not just walking into a room and being told, hey, today we're going to watch this movie. It's really very thoughtful process.
I think one of the interesting things about that is you have clients that have been at KDB for many years. And with the number of programs that are offered regularly, some of those folks might never take the same class twice. If it's something that they're interested in, they certainly have the opportunity to, but there's also just unbelievable opportunities to learn new things and take new classes and do things that they haven't done before, even for folks that have been here for a very long time.
And we have 5 original to the 1991 start date clients still in the program, and those 5 will tell us that they're always learning something new from the staff, and they're amazed that they come up with the ideas that they come up with, and they're like, where did you learn about this? Tell me more. How do we do that? Because there's always such flexibility that there's always room for growth for the clients and for the staff and the environment. We're constantly trying to bring in outside things. You know, what's the latest and greatest? When Pinterest went big, we ran a Pinterest fail group so that we could see that we truly fail at most Pinterest activities, but we're going to continue to try, and they might be very specialized, but the clients are very open to learning new things, including one which is not on here. Yes, actually it is. It should be on that slide. Tuesday mornings we're working with Denver Center for Performing Arts, and we just started that last semester, and I had a client who was like, I'm not so sure about this. I signed up, but I have horrible stage fright. I don't think I can do it. To the end, 16 weeks later, they do a performance, and this person is like, I love theater. It is my new passion in life. I need to do it forever. So you get that where someone has that fear, but then they overcome, and they get to experience and grow. And it's very different than a standard day program of, I went to my old program and watched movies. I played bingo. We maybe went to the mall, but we didn't do anything overnight. We didn't do anything adventure-based, and this is what we're doing today. Like it or not, that's the activity. They come in here, there's so much choice that if they don't like one thing, they're bound to like something else.
And even outside the scope of programs, we've got the computer lab comes to mind. Can't imagine you had a computer lab in 1991, but now now, you know, anytime you walk down the hall, anytime I walk down the hall and past the computer lab, I see people checking their email, people surfing the web.
Facebook.
Absolutely.
Finding their friends from in the building, outside of the building, and creating groups of friends outside of the building and scheduling activities to do with each other outside of the building. So we really are broadening that network base by using the computers that we're lucky enough to have, you know, that we definitely did not have in 1991. In 2001, when I came, I think we had 4, and now we have 14.
Yeah, now we have a full computer lab.
We track a variety of client data in order to understand what our participants need and strive for their overall happiness. We look at diagnosis. We look at functional status, which we do on a quarterly basis as a team, really to see, are we helping someone maintain their status? And a lovely fact is that over 75% of our clients are either maintaining or improving within the calendar year, which for our diagnoses, that's big. We look at the number of days clients attend, because they have the right to attend 1 to 5 days, even a half day if their fatigue level is too much. We trend that functional score so that we can watch. We're looking at quality of life. We're looking at leisure interests. We're looking at friendships and how they're encouraged to participate. And we also look at years of participation, which those original 5 from 1991 have put in their 28 years of KDB, and none of them want to leave. Why do we look at outcome data? Outcome data is big everywhere. You go to a doctor's office and they're asking you for a patient report on your outcomes. Health care providers are doing it. We're doing it because we need to look at interventions. What kinds of activities and programs do we need? How effective are we being? We want to maintain that continuity of care over time, which it would be easy just to do the status quo, but we want to continue to strive. We want to develop and improve treatment resources for our participants. We want to be cost effective to maintain that ability in the community. But we also want satisfaction. And if we're not looking at the outcomes of what our participants are doing and showing the world that we are a quality program, then the clients aren't actually gaining something from it. And we want them to give us that feedback too. This is what I liked, this is what I don't like, and then we process how can we improve. So there's lots of outcomes. There's clinical endpoints like you go and your doctor says, how's your knee pain been, to mortality rates. There's the functional status components. How are you doing physically, mentally, socially? What are your roles in life? There's the well-being, which I think is becoming a more popular area. Health perceptions. What's your life satisfaction? How are you feeling about you? What is your overall wellness? As we were doing the wellness pilot program, there's lots of wellness thoughts and process there. How satisfied with your care are you? Not just us, but how satisfied are you with the care in the community? How about your financial coverage, your access, the convenience? How can we help, either through communicating with our docs or communicating with other doctors about what our participants need and want from their care? We also look at observed changes in their client status. Is it from an intervention? Is it from the diagnosis? Is the family aware that this change has happened? Is the physician aware that this change has happened? How can we make all of that come together so that the outcome is positive? And this is the client perspective, and so there's you see lots of great pictures of all the fun things that we're doing, boxing and gardening and hydro and kayaking, and even just walking tours. And clients will say things like, this is my family. This is my second home. That includes the staff. They feel very bonded to the staff that are here, and they share that identity. On Fridays, I always look forward to Monday when I can come back here. So a client who is here 5 days a week wants to be here 5 days a week, wishes I could be here 7 days a week. My mom can't wait for Mondays and Wednesdays to come. She asks my sister and I constantly, is tomorrow Monday? Is it time to go back? And I love this place and love everyone here. And from a staffing perspective, an intern perspective, that doesn't happen in a lot of programs, and I think it's part of the culture of the center to maintain that overall wellness ideal and that connection to the patient and their families so that the support continues, and we've been lucky enough to continue that. I think, for my entire 16 years with the program, it's been there, and I'm sure it's been there longer, that we really strive to have that personal connection and that maintaining. And I was here as an intern, a student, and I left, and I hated leaving, and the clients cried, and they hated saying goodbye, but they loved celebrating with each other the small miracles in life, that someone became a grandfather this week, and all the clients were excited looking at baby pictures and sharing that support. So I think it's just we're continuing to grow and want to continue that growth forward.
It strikes me, we're talking a lot about the clients, but we also talked a lot about the staff here, and people work here. This is our job, and it's a natural part of a workplace that people move on to different career opportunities. And over 27 years of KDB, you've certainly had people move on. And what strikes me is, of all the places I've worked in my career, I've never seen the emotion in when someone's moving on, and we stop everything in the middle of the day, and that person has an opportunity to say goodbye to the group and to individuals. It's pretty remarkable how connected everyone is. Even folks that aren't here very long, like an intern who's here for one semester.
Yeah.
There's still a tremendous connection between them, the professionals, and the clients.
Yeah, and even the people that move on, it's usually because of a change in life circumstance, or it might be an opportunity for them to have growth in their career. But, we have a volunteer who retired on a Friday from this program and came back on Monday as a volunteer. I have a family member of a past client who had passed away who came back and said this is her place, and she volunteers 5 days a week. We have students who will go and then come back. We have staff. We have staff that go out of town, move out of town, and they come back to visit family in town, and they stop by and see the program. They want to have that continued connection and the friendship with people, and I don't call it a job. I call it my second home. I can't imagine being anywhere else in the TR field. This program is really designed to continue to help someone grow, and I love watching the clients change and improve and learn new skills, and the shock at things like I suddenly want to be a drama person, from someone who was very shy to, even someone who just couldn't walk a lap around a gym, to walking 20 laps around the building, and how they're like, this is amazing, the growth that they've experienced physically by coming.
All right, that leads us into the Q&A session. If there are any questions from the audience, please use the chat window on your screen. Just type your question to us, and we will address all the questions that we can in the time that we've got left. Michelle, I'm curious about something. You started with how many clients?
When I started? KDB started with 6 clients today. So
KDB started with 6 clients today, and 5 of them are still active clients, 28 years later.
Mm-hmm.
We started with, those first few folks were all MS patients, that's right?
MS, and then later in that first year, they did expand to brain injury, but the majority were MS. We had, at that time, we had a board mandate that said we had to have greater than 50% of all clients attending diagnosed with MS.
So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the number of clients and their diagnoses today, and how we sort of switched over the years to accommodate more people with different diagnoses.
I think early it became apparent that we don't all segregate our friendships based on our job. I'm sure Pete doesn't hang out with just marketing guys, and I don't hang out with just therapeutic rec specialists, but those clients, they have similar neurological needs. They had similar pathways, and we were finding that by broadening who we were bringing in, it allowed the clients to have broader friendships while still maintaining that neurological component to gauge where someone needed. And their needs are very similar. The mobility needs, the cognition needs, the physical assistance needs were all very similar. So it allowed us to really work together to do that. Currently today, I can tell you that out of 143 active clients at the program as of this morning, there are 56 who have brain injuries, 53 that have MS, 24 that have had a stroke, and 11 participants with other rare neurological. And those rare neurological conditions are things that neurologists would say they're lucky to see in a lifetime, but really work well. They've almost all been diagnosed as adults or had adult onset of trauma. So they've gone to school, they've had jobs, they've been married or had relationships. So they can all support each other in ways that really blend well together. They're very supportive of each other, and they don't know each other's diagnosis, nor do they care. I don't often hear someone say, hey, what's your diagnosis? Why are you here? It's usually, so tell me about yourself. What do you like to do? want to play a card game with me, and more about what's happening in today than the diagnosis. And no one here is saying, oh, you have a cane. Why do you have a cane? Do you have a challenge using the cane? They're really, one of my favorite quotes that we didn't put in was a client saying, this is a place where I feel accepted and not questioned for my symptoms that they can't see and they don't understand. It doesn't matter what that symptom is, I'm accepted for having it, and someone says, you know, that's a bummer, and then they move on. Medicare does not currently pay for adult day programs. Originally, in the Affordable Care Act, that was supposed to be looped in. Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services have not made it a pathway for providers. I'm constantly on the watch. There are some third-party insurance companies that will pay or reimburse for services. But currently, Medicare is not paying for day programs, not just KDB, but day programs in general aren't being paid for by Medicare. Are there other questions? Whoa, a long question just popped up. So
I'll read it, how's that?
So please read it.
Sent in a question prior to the webinar regarding yoga therapy specifically. Do you provide this as part of your program's internal or external organizations? The Neuropalliative Care Program at Anschutz does refer for yoga therapy, and I would be interested to know if you access this resource, which has been shown to be beneficial for neurological conditions. So, do we do yoga?
We do yoga classes that are adapted by staff that have been specifically trained on adapting a regular standard yoga class, but not a yoga therapist. We have had difficulty making connections with someone who can come in and do yoga therapy during our day hours, because those hours are very prominent for people to be in the workforce and don't have the flexibility to come in and work either as a contract or under volunteer heading to provide those services. But I will be reaching out to the palliative care clinic to check on their yoga therapists and see if they have anybody that they can get me in touch with.
Passing over pens so Michelle can take notes about that.
Yes.
We had another question that was submitted ahead of time asking if there's any chance of expanding to Colorado Springs.
We have done an evaluation in the Denver metro area only to look at client placement and need. I think that as telemedicine is happening more in the Springs with our physicians up here, that it might be something that we continue to look at through strategic planning. There is no immediate opening. There are some programs that are open in the Springs area that don't exactly follow the KDB model, but that are well received by participants.
And can we have them call KDB to find out more about those programs?
Or email.
Or call or email. Okay.
Yes, you may. There was a question just posted online about following up for the yoga therapy, following up with me directly. Yes, you may. I believe my email address is on the website under KDB. It is mking@mscenter.org, and I would be glad to follow up. If you send me an initial email, then we can plan a conversation via phone if we can get the timing to line up, or we can exchange emails if that works better.
All right, that looks like it's it for the questions. I will invite everybody to visit our website at mscenter.org for more information about everything and anything that we talked about today. There's also contact information on the website where you can reach anyone that spoke today, or if you've got a particular concern that doesn't necessarily fall into something that we spoke about today, you can email info@mscenter.org. That's sort of our email reception, and that'll get routed to the right place, and we'll make sure that we get back to you with an appropriate answer. So that's it for us today, I think.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much. We appreciate it. This will be posted online probably in the next 24 hours or so, and you can follow up and see this video replayed if you'd like at mscenter.org/webinars. And that's actually where we keep all of our webinars that we've done over the past few years. So if you'd like to go browse what else we've done, you'll find all those at that address.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Pete, for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thanks.